Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness, and this is episode 38 of my Fallout 4 No Loot Challenge run. It's the epilogue, folks. I've got a lot of things to say, and we're going to try and get through those before everyone gets bored and leaves. And so we're going to start with some initial reflections. We're going to move into wrapping up some plot threads, such as what's going on with the Brotherhood of Steel, or the Railroad, or some other characters that you might have questions about. And finally, we'll end with some final reflections and call it a day. So if you like this video and you enjoy some weird challenge runs, please do hit the like button. It does help the channel grow. That's no BS. And if you want to see more, be sure and subscribe. I have more Fallout in real life videos that I have at least shot the base footage for. I need to edit those and get them posted, but those are coming. And Starfield is out by the time you watch this. Now, I'm recording this in middle of August, but by the time this video airs, Starfield will be out, and we'll have to see whether or not I feel like I have something unique or interesting to say about that game, whether it's ripe for content for a creator like myself. If you dislike this video, please tell me why in a comment, because a dislike without context means that I don't know what I should do to try and improve my content and make better content for you. Thank you so much for your consideration. So, a few things to get out right out of the gate. This is not going to be a surprise, we're going to go do the DLC or anything like that. No, I am done with Fallout 4, at least for a while. And
what have you got to trade today?
I also want to get out of the way right up front where everyone can hear it and know it. Thank you so much to all of my subscribers who have stuck through this with me, and most especially to Easy E and Fallout Gamer. They have been an unfailing source of good wishes and positive comments, and I really, really appreciate both of them and the time that they took out of their days to say something nice to me. It is a rare thing, and I truly treasure it. Now, I have just sold all of my vegetables and most of my fruit, and we're going to sell the last of the ammo for the big boy because we are going to turn off survival mode. At this point, it is superfluous. There's really no reason for me to continue in survival. So if I could just find the setting, here we go. I'll still go ahead and make it very hard, but the survival, yeah, we're done with that. And that means that we are not going to be needing some of those things in our inventory. And also, in the interest of clearing our inventory somewhat, I'm going to put down the last minute. We just barely used it at all, actually. It was something that I picked up in the next to last mission and then used in the last mission, and then that was it. So not a lot of sentimental attachment to it, but I think that, you know, as a member of the few legendary pieces of equipment that we were able to get on this run, it deserves a place in kind of our niche of honor over here. So let's get that armor mannequin turned back on. There we go. So we have got our inventory down to less than 100, which is good. That's kind of my target for a couple things that I have that are coming up a little bit later. Now, I want to talk about the rule set. The rule set was that The rule set evolved a little bit over the course of the game. I started off with kind of a vague idea and was able to narrow it down to if it's out in the world or in a container, I am not allowed to use the A button to pick it up. And I did allow myself a couple of places where I would bend those rules. First, where I would, right here's the big crater where the CIT used to be. We should probably move on from this before we die. Some places that I would allow those rules to bend would be, for example, crops. I was allowed to pick crops because my character needed something to eat, and we also needed things to barter with to buy guns and bullets, but really the biggest thing was I needed to eat. And that was because I chose survival mode as my difficulty setting, and in hindsight that was maybe a little bit of a mistake, because survival mode became less of a challenge and more of a chore as time went on. And that has been true for me for really every run that I have done in survival. It is the hardest, and it is the hardest at first, but the early game challenge just does not persist. I mean, if I had encountered these gunners at, say, level 10, that would have been a fatal encounter, right? Like, I really wasn't paying attention, I wasn't prepared for them, I didn't get sneak attack criticals, but by the time you finish the game, there's really... The challenge has gone away, and once you have enough settlements to where you can find a bed available nearby almost everywhere in the game, and you've got crops available to you to eat almost everywhere in the game, the survival difficulty goes away. And I think that if I had to do it differently, I would choose to do it on very hard and not worry about having to eat, and instead trying to worry about, could I survive and play the game on nothing but quest rewards? Another possibility that might have worked, and I would be interested if anybody was ever willing to try it, would be rush the cannibal perk very early in the game and use that as pretty much the sole source of food, and water as just drinking from dirty puddles and ponds and stuff. It is possible that a nomad style of gameplay might be able to keep the challenge up when it comes to survival mode throughout the game. I've heard of some rule sets that are essentially the opposite of what I did here, where I cheesed the settlement system so hard. And a nomad version where you're simply not allowed to set foot into settlements or enter the settlement build mode might make things more interesting and more challenging for a survival run start to finish. Anyways, yeah, choosing the difficulty mode was maybe not the best decision I ever made, but I didn't know, and there was kind of no way to know, I think, until we had actually tried the experiment. I started this run in January, and it is now August as I record this, so we're talking 7 months of my life that I have spent almost all of my free time working on this run, and that was something I did not anticipate. I anticipated that I would be done with this run long before Starfield came out, and that just didn't happen because Starfield came out sooner than I was really expecting. I was expecting more of a holiday release instead of a September release, and actually, I suppose at this point, as I record this, there's still a possibility it could be delayed again. I don't know. At any rate, the run also just took far longer than anticipated. With Starfield out, I am not sure if or when I'll ever come back to Fallout 4. It kind of depends a lot on whether or not Starfield is any good. I really thought when Fallout 4 came out, like, I would go back to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas maybe every once in a while. And 8 years later, it just hasn't happened. I do distinctly remember I was completing an epic collect everything Fallout 3 run where I was trying to get every legendary item in the game, every outfit, every piece of junk that you could pick up, even all the kid outfits that you could get by reverse pickpocketing onto various kids around the Wasteland. If you put some armor on them, they would then have their clothes available that you might be able to pickpocket off of them. And I completed that run literally an hour before the midnight release of Fallout 4 at GameStop. And that is a little segue into, like, I really miss midnight releases. I think that it is a kind of sad fact that in the age of digital content that is just not a thing anymore. I digress. So, all endings are bittersweet, and this certainly, right now, feels like the end of a rather large chunk of my life. I have been playing the Fallout franchise pretty steadily since 2008 when Fallout 3 came out, with exceptions for Skyrim and Mass Effect. Those are the only other games that really could hold my attention for any length of time outside of Fallout. And I have played a lot of Fallout 4. What I'm showing you is a screenshot from the Xbox Companion app that you can install on your PC or on your phone. And there are stats that you can find on here that I don't think you can find on a console anywhere. At least I have not been able to find them. And it turns out that I have played Fallout 4 for 246 days. Now, if you do the math and multiply that by 24 hours, and then divide those by 40 for a 40-hour work week, and then divide that by 52, you will see that I have been playing Fallout 4 for a total of 2.85 years if I was doing it as a full-time job. If I'm wasting my life, at least I'm doing it in good company. Nasty Bones and Phoenix are both excellent YouTubers, although both of them seem to have retired from Fallout 4 content. Can't say that I blame them. Look at the number of hours they have in the game. Automatic also has his own channel and has done some Fallout 4 content, and so has Draco Invictus. And although it looks like he is slumming it down there at 115 days, this is a man who also played Fallout 4 on PlayStation and PC, so hard to say how many hours he actually has in the game in total. Regardless, I count it a privilege and a pleasure to include these people on my friends list, and knowing that there are other people out there that play this game quite this obsessively makes me feel a little bit better about having spent so much time in it. Nevertheless, I have obscured gamer tags. In some cases, I've obscured real names, and real faces from photographs because I have not sought permission to share this information from these folks, and I don't want to dox anybody. So if any of these folks are out there and see this, I hope that they're okay with it and the fact that I have done what I could to protect their privacy. Links to all of these channels will be in the video description. Anyway, I don't know if I will ever live long enough to see another Fallout game. And you never know. It could be another disappointment like Fallout 76. You know, something that is so riddled with microtransactions that it's just not what it should be. 76 was, I'll call it a mediocre game. It wasn't really bad, and at the start, playing with Draco and Phoenix and G4 and Quicksmoke and Bones on the beta was awesome. Like there was all those people and other YouTube personalities too that I again feel privileged to know and call friends, that when we played together, man, it was so much fun, but it wore off really quickly.
Farm's not much.
And for a long time, I played 76 out of habit more than anything else. There was no joy in it. But back to our no loot run. I have some stats that I wanted to share. First off, I have mentioned it's been 7 months in the real world. In game, we are just about a month shy of a year. It is September 13th, 2288, literally the day after the Institute was destroyed. And we spent the vast majority of that time actually not working on the plot at all. It was July 4th in game when we started the plot proper. So yeah, you can kill a lot of time doing things outside the plot, and that is true even when you are in yeah, this is a tooltip for fast travel. That's funny. So I only discovered 246 locations. Doesn't sound like a ton, but my go everywhere, do everything character Nacho that I did most of my building with had explored something like 600 locations. But check it out, I only cleared 83 locations. Because there was no reason for me to go into any of those locations, because I wasn't doing any looting, and whatever magazine or bobblehead or weapon or whatever might be in a particular location, like there was no reason for me to go into anything except the most important locations. And I think that explains why so many players complained about kind of exploration fatigue, right? There was a lot of folks that said exploration is fun, but there's too much of it in Fallout 4. And they might be right. After all, if there's little reason to go into any particular location except for potentially the junk or magazine or whatever that you might get out of it, boy, you know, is that really good gameplay? I don't know. I say yes, because I enjoy the environmental storytelling that is very typical of the Fallout games, but I can at least appreciate the point of view that other people might have. Meanwhile, the junk that I found, quote unquote found, collected, whatever, was almost entirely purchased. There's probably maybe 50 or 100 of that are disabled traps that I went and immediately dropped the junk that disabling the trap came up with. And 6,100 purchased pieces of junk might seem like a lot, but again, my character Nacho My guy that was level 205 and had done everything and been anywhere had collected 8.6 million. Yeah, he was definitely a resource hog. On the other hand, Nacho only picked 1,400 crops in 200 levels, and 1,400 sounds like a lot until you compare it to little old Mary here, who, it's in crafting, let's see, Mary collected a total of 33,482. It's just shy of 33,500 crops. And that was tedious. And as I said earlier when I was talking about the difficulty level, I think it might have been a more interesting run if I had not allowed crops and instead played on very hard. Because those 33,500 crops ultimately were able to generate over 200,000 caps, which meant that really there was nothing in the game at any point that I was unable to afford. There were times when I had to save up for stuff, but with a little planning and a little foreknowledge of what I was going to be doing, it was never a problem. Now, as far as quests go, a lot of folks claimed that Fallout 4 was nothing but fetch quests, and I feel like I am in a unique position to comment on that. Now, this quest log looks pretty bad. It looks like we've got just tons of quests that were fetch quests that we were not able to complete, but we can throw 4 of these quests out because they are DLC. We just have not gone into the DLC, except for a very brief flirtation with Automatron so I could get the robot workbench unlocked. 8 of these quests are from the Creation Club, and I don't feel like Bethesda should be held accountable in the base game for whether or not stuff is too many fetch quests based on these Creation Club quests. The Creation Club has some somewhat limited rules that it has to work under to ensure that those quests will always work as advertised, and that means that fetch quests are probably the rule of the day. There was actually one of the Creation Clubs that I was able to complete without it being a fetch quest, and that was the Tunnel Snakes Rule fetch, I almost said Tunnel Snakes Rule fetch quest, but the Tunnel Snakes Rule creation did not require you to pick up anything as far as a legendary item to complete the quest, or in some cases to even start the quest, like the one for the Captain Cosmos. That one in particular, couldn't even start that one because we had to pick up an item to start that one. So if we throw out the Creation Club quests, the 4 DLC quests, that leaves 6 miscellaneous objectives in my quest log, and actually I could probably complete Investigate Parsons Insane Asylum. I've been there before. I'm not sure why I need to investigate it now. I don't remember where I picked that up. And these little miscellaneous objectives, sure, fetch quests. And that leaves 8 side quests, like the Lost Patrol or the Silver Shroud, that I was not able to complete. And yet, look at all of these quests that I completed. Now, yeah, a lot of them are Radiant quests, where the objective is simply to go somewhere and kill something, but there's a lot of quests on this quest log, like Troubled Waters, for example, or Pull the Plug, or Confidence Man, where big named quests that were not fetch quests. And so To anybody that says that Fallout 4 was nothing but fetch quests, I guess I would say that I respectfully disagree based on my experience with this particular experimental run. However, that does mean that there were a number of times where we had no choice but to loot. So what I'm showing you is a list of every time we broke the rules during this run. Now, the companions are inconsequential, but I include them anyways. Pickman's Gift was something that Hancock picked up for me. I was so surprised that I rolled with it, and it wasn't until later that I decided that maybe I shouldn't have done that looting by proxy is still looting, but I didn't have a save game that I could go back to. The Saugus Ironworks key, Preston picked that up, and I was attempting to have Preston try and pick up the sword for Finch Farm. I would occasionally try to have companions pick things up for me, and most of the time it didn't work. And indeed, it didn't work with Finch Farm, but he did get this Saugus Ironworks key, and that is something that if I had picked it up from Preston and put it in Mary's inventory, we could have never got rid of it. Still, it really had no effect on gameplay. Mary, on the other hand, has been very naughty. First, she picked up the Pip-Boy, which was required to open the vault door at the start of the game, and frankly, the game would be unplayable without the Pip-Boy. She also picked up Kellogg's San Francisco Sunlight cigars. Those are required to unlock the basement at the fort where Kellogg hides out. No matter what, if the quest is active and you have Dogmeat with you and Nick Valentine, if you get to Fort Hagen and you don't have the Sunlight cigars, the basement elevator remains locked. There's just no way around it. Meanwhile, Kellogg's Brain and Kellogg's Password form kind of a two-part thing to unlock Virgil. Kellogg's Brain is necessary to go complete the quest at the Memory Den. If you get to the Memory Den and you don't have the brain, they just tell you need to go get Kellogg's Brain. And Kellogg's Password is required to get out of the basement through the elevator to the roof. Go from the basement of Fort Hagen to the roof of Fort Hagen, and then we have the big dramatic entry of the Brotherhood of Steel. You can backtrack through that basement and not pick up that password, but if the Brotherhood of Steel has not arrived, or if the Memory Den quest is not complete, either of those, Virgil is not in his cave. Virgil only spawns in his cave to advance the game if you have completed both of those steps of getting the Memory Den and having the Brotherhood of Steel arrival. Meanwhile, the Courser chip is necessary to convince Virgil to make the plans that are necessary to get the teleporter into the Institute. And unless you teleport into the Institute at some point, there is no way to get the quest form ranks or any other in-game quest, because those all depend on getting kicked out of the Institute, which means you have to get into it in the first place. Meanwhile, we discovered at the very end of the run that the artillery plans and the artillery smoke grenades are required to complete old guns, and if you do not complete old guns, form ranks cannot be completed, and if form ranks can't be completed, you can't do the molecular level. So those are all of the instances where looting is absolutely required. And I don't think that it would be possible to do the game with any less than 7. Because all the way up to the Courser chip, that is faction independent. It doesn't matter which faction you're going to go with, you will have to pass all of those gates. If, for example, one were to try and complete an Institute run, the quest where we get the beryllium agitator to activate the Institute reactor has at least 2 items to pick up: a key card to get into the building proper, and the beryllium agitator itself. So it's at least as many, possibly more, than the 7 that we had to get for the Minutemen. The Brotherhood of Steel requires that you complete Call to Arms and pick up the deep range transmitter, and after that you have to do Semper Invicta, which includes a Radiant quest called Quarter Mastery that's given by the Scribe. That's with Dance, and Quarter Mastery is a Radiant fetch quest. So that also has at least 2 more times you have to pick things up. So there are at least 7 on those paths. The railroad also promises to be at least as many, possibly more items to pick up, because in Tradecraft you are required to pick up Carrington's prototype, and that is the quest that is required for essentially admission to the railroad. And as I showed, if we don't do Tradecraft, eventually the railroad becomes angry at us and says that we're working with the Institute. If we had gone down that path, the next quest would have been Underground Undercover, and eventually along that quest line you meet a member of the Institute who is helping synths escape, but he needs a password to try and help a whole bunch of synths escape all at once. And that password is located in Cambridge Polymer Labs. Cambridge Polymer Labs requires picking up multiple things in order to navigate through it. So I think that the railroad is probably even more looting if we had gone down that path. So I believe that I have found the minimum number of items to pick up required, and I believe that number is 7. But where does that leave us in proving many a true nerd right or wrong about whether or not looting is entirely optional in Fallout 4? Let me play for you again the clip that kicked off this entire run and inspired this whole mad adventure.
I don't actually think Fallout 4 is a looter shooter at all. You absolutely 100% don't have to engage with any looting. You can have a perfectly good time playing this game without ever touching a piece of junk. Then you can improve it a bit further. If you need materials, buy them. Junk traders are literally all over the shop if you'd rather not spend your time looting. I just don't think it's right to call Fallout 4 a looter shooter if all aspects of looting are optional.
Well, in the absolute strictest sense, yes, we did prove that John was incorrect, because we did have to interact with some San Francisco sunlights, which are in the junk category. But we're taking it to the ultimate extreme, are we not? I mean, I went ahead and took this just as absolutely far as I could go, and it was ridiculous, and it was kind of fun, but I also got a lot of criticism from people saying that I was making the game, quote-unquote, too hard. I mean, certainly, if you look at, for example, the original old-school Doom from the 90s, that game required you to pick up key cards in order to get through levels, and no one ever said that Doom was a looter shooter and condemned it as such. So, more pragmatically, yes, Starlight Driving's under attack. Well, Starlight Driving can fend for itself. As I was saying, more pragmatically, yes. I think that we have shown that it is entirely possible to play the entirety of Fallout 4 without ever picking up a piece of junk or looting an enemy or doing anything else other than the minimum required in order to play the game. But it's just not as much fun. I mean, picking 33,000 crops was not a good time. Let me tell you, it was tedious. In fact, if I had been doing this just on my own without a YouTube channel, I would have quit long ago. But because I have a channel and because YouTube is my hobby, I wanted to keep up with it. And so, why is it so dark over here? Anyways, so I wanted to keep up with it, and I did. But it is just such a tedious way to play the game. There is no exploration because there's no reason to explore. And I think I showed that when I showed how many locations I found. I found a bare minimum of locations. I mean, it sounds like a lot, and I'm sure there's ways that you could find fewer locations or whatever, but I didn't explore hardly any of them. And think about all the great things that we missed. I mean, for example, College Square. I was right there. I was right next to it, and never actually got the map marker cleared, or discovered, I should say, because there was no reason to go over there. There is the mass fusion containment shed. Okay, minor location, not much going on there, but I do seem to remember some holotapes or some notes that told kind of a fun story. I mean, the Boston mayoral shelter, not even on my map. And there was a great story associated with that place. All of the holotapes and notes and terminals that I didn't read because I didn't bother to explore. At the very beginning of the game, the ranger cabin here has a great holotape from a girl who has gotten pregnant. She's a teenager and she's more or less been banished by her family, and she comes to this ranger cabin and the end of the world happens. I mean, so many great beats that we miss. And so even though, yes, we can play Fallout 4 without looting, and it is not a looter shooter as such, you miss so much, and the game is far less rich and not nearly as fun. And ultimately, isn't that what we're here for, is to have a good time? So that is kind of my final word on it, is that yes, John was correct. Fallout 4 is not a looter shooter, and yet if you are not willing to take the time to explore and interact with the stories, maybe Fallout just isn't your jam. With that said, we can now, I think, move on to... Oh, yeah, okay, here's another one. Hallucinogen Inc. Literally walked past this probably 75, 100 times. Never once got the map marker because there was just no point to it. I wasn't going in there. I'm rambling now. Let's go find out about some of the different characters and factions after the end of the game. First thing we're going to do is go say hello to Sean. Sturgis said that he went and teleported Sean to the castle, and glory, hallelujah, for the first time in this game, I am going to fast travel. I shouldn't say in this game, but on this run, I am going to fast travel. At least, well, okay, I guess we did just a very few times to the Institute, but still, it just feels so good to point at a map marker and say, take me there. Especially now where so many of the enemies in the game have been killed and not respawned. Sean, where in the world are ya? Okay, Sean, why in the world do you look so greasy? I mean, I know it's raining, but good lord.
Hey, Sean.
I was so worried. I thought I'd never see you again. Is it true? Did you really blow up the Institute? Why would you do that?
I'm sorry, man. They were dangerous. They were
To everyone in the Commonwealth.
They were hurting people.
Yeah, that's what Sturgis said. As long as you don't leave me, it'll be okay. You're not gonna leave me, right?
I can't make promises, but I'm gonna try.
I know you're busy and important and all that. I just hope I get to see you sometimes. Oh, before I forget, Father, he told me to give this to you. I didn't listen to it, so I don't know what it says. But I think it's important.
Sean, I know a couple of people in Sanctuary that lost a son that was about your age, Mr. and Mrs. Long, and although you're not a replacement for my son or theirs,
People out here are just
I feel like they might have some love to give. Marcy is bitter, but you might be able to help break through that. So I want you to go to Sanctuary. Because I think that's probably a better place for you than a military fortification. We'll try to stop by and see how you're doing. As for the holotape from Father, let's take a listen to what that has to say.
If you are hearing this, then whatever conflicts you and I have endured are over. I have no reason to believe that you'll honor the request I'm about to make. But I feel compelled to try anyway. This synth, this boy, he deserves more. He has been reprogrammed to believe he is your son. It is my hope that you will take him with you. I would only ask that you give him a chance. A chance to be part of whatever future awaits the Commonwealth.
Even in death, I feel like father/son/Sean is really more interested in emotional blackmail than an actual human connection. He was lost to Mary the minute that Institute person tried to take him out of Nate's hands, and there was never any chance of recovering him. It's too bad. Still, I keep trying to hit the pause button instead of going to the Pip-Boy. You would think, with as many hours as I have in this game, I would know which buttons to push. Anyways, I want to go see what is going on with the Brotherhood of Steel. We're going to see what's going on with the Brotherhood of Steel too, but for right now, I want to see what's going on with the railroad. Are they going to shoot us the moment that we walk into their headquarters? I'm kind of hopeful that I have still managed to kind of stumble my way into the trifecta ending where the railroad and the Brotherhood and the Minutemen are all at an uneasy peace. But it's not likely. I mean, how the heck is we going to be at peace with the Brotherhood? We never even talked to him. Dance has got to be super angry at us for leaving him down in that basement for so many months, right?
Get out of here.
Hey, get out.
Okay, they're still saying get out of here, but they're not They're not shooting.
If I ever leave the railroad, I'm trying
Tom?
to figure out a way to pay you back for all you've done.
Lori, I'm not sure which way to take that. I mean, I destroyed the Institute, but you seem really angry at me, so I don't know. Well, I don't see Tom, but I did see a subtitle where he says "Stay away from me," so I'm guessing that means he's not going to be a store. Oh, there he is, sitting right there. Yeah, come on, Tom. Would you sell it to me? Just a little ballistic weave? Fine. Des, do you have anything else to add?
To the Commonwealth. And if I bumped into you in Diamond City, I'd buy you a drink. But this is private property, so I'd appreciate it if you move out.
Well, there's a whole bunch of synths that have been liberated. You know, a bunch of Institute scientists to track down. Do you guys need any help?
Need help?
Always. But as the leader of the Minutemen, it gets complicated. Most of the people in the Commonwealth still hate synths. Arguably even more than they did. So it's safer for everyone if we keep our distance.
Well, fair enough. At least they aren't shooting at us. So I guess we can call that kind of a win.
Hey, get out of here.
Are we allowed to fast travel out of this basement? Because I just did it again. I would like to go to ArcJet and see what's up with Dance. So, let's see. There's the diner. ArcJet has got to be around here somewhere, right? There it is. We'll go in the back door and see if Dance is still down there. See if the deep range transmitter is still down there. Okay, Warwick Homestead. They are also going to have to fend for themselves. We're in caution, and that's why, because there are some robots over here. So we'll take these guys out, and I'm kind of interested to see if I can gain another level. There's one other perk that I have. I don't know that I have ever taken it in Fallout 4, and I guess I'd just kind of like to give it a try, see what happens. So, we were so close to the next level. Have we gained it yet? Probably, because my hit points are full, even though I've taken some hits. My armor's not that good. And funny enough, I did take a rank of Mysterious Stranger, but I have been in VATS a bunch, and I don't think that I've ever seen him show up. Is Mysterious Stranger maybe bugged? Anyway, this is not canon, and we're in the post game show, I guess. So I'm gonna take Cannibal. Because, well, like I said, I'm not sure that I ever actually have, and I am curious. Also, what's going on with my saves? Because I've got autosaves now. So, do I have any more? No, still limited to 3 saves. So, the 3 save thing has been because I am running out of space allocated to Fallout 4 on Xbox versus running on survival mode. And boy, this has been a pretty long run for not having done hardly any building after all. 12 days. That is, let's see, 2 times 24 is 48, and let's see, 10 times 24 is, so 288 hours? Something like that? Been a lot of melon picking, I'll tell you that. And as long as this series has been, and as much content is out there on YouTube now, you guys didn't get but a bare fraction. So the deep range transmitter is still here, but Paladin Dance is not. You know what? I'm going to pick this up and just kind of see what happens. It really shouldn't be a quest item anymore, right? Because we have already failed that quest. Are we allowed to drop it? We are. Interesting. Okay. Well, Dance isn't here, and we're probably not going to be allowed to fast travel from this basement. So why don't we go back to the police station and see if we can't maybe find out if the Brotherhood is actively hostile, or... I did it again. Holy crap. Let's find out if the Brotherhood is actively hostile or not. Because if they're not, even if they are just kind of unfriendly, it's kind of this weird half trifecta. Like what I call the trifecta is you have full access to all the vendors and services of the Minutemen and the Brotherhood and the Railroad. And we don't have access to the vendors and services in the Railroad. Dance, boy, it's been a long time. I'm sorry.
Paladin Dance.
So, it appears the Commonwealth is about to enter a new era of peace thanks to you.
Well, it was kind of personal.
Dance. This was personal.
It doesn't matter. What you've done will be felt for years to come. It's destined to become a part of history. A tale of a lone soldier who made this land a better place. A place where people no longer have to live in fear, but instead live in peace. And even though you elected to carry out the mission with the Minutemen at your side, the end result is the same. The Commonwealth is safe, because you chose to take a leap of faith and make a difference. Ad Victoriam.
Fascinating. Well, I'm glad he is willing to forgive us. Halen, I don't know. Would you give me a quest?
End of the rope for you, or are you gonna stick around?
Well, I'm not leaving. I don't have anywhere else to go.
Think we'd all miss you around here. Look, I never really had a chance to thank you for sparing Dance. I know I asked you to hear him out, but I wasn't sure you'd really go through with it. I visited him a few times at the bunker. He really seems to be doing well. Well, it's hard to tell when he's happy, but you get what I mean.
What bunker?
You've gone out there?
Dance is isolated. He doesn't have much in the way of supplies or ammunition, so I bring him whatever he needs. And when he isn't partnered up with you, I think he needs someone else to spend time with. Don't worry, I'm not implying you're neglecting him out there. By defying Maxon's orders, you've already done that.
Maxon's orders? I never met Maxon. I mean, I don't have any regrets.
I made the right choice.
Absolutely. I knew there was something special about you when you stumbled into our compound and helped us take down those ferals. And everything you've done since then for Dance, for the Brotherhood.
Oh! Holy smokes. Okay, this is bizarre. I understand what's going on here finally.
Confidence that whatever you choose will continue to make the Commonwealth a better place.
What has happened is, so if you go through the game normally, eventually Dance is revealed to be a synth. And then, just a second, Reese. And then Maxon orders you to go kill him, but you have an option to spare him. And she is under the mistaken impression that that has actually happened.
For everyone. Our scribe.
So,
Affirmative.
Great. Here's the location. Get on it.
so we've got Quartermastery as a quest after the game has ended. That is so interesting to me. What's also interesting is, what in the world, Reese? You're not supposed to sit and interact with 3 dimensions like that, buddy. What have you got to say?
wanted to formally apologize for the way I treated you. It was wrong, and I'm prepared to accept the consequences.
I mean, I've never been a member of the Brotherhood of Steel, so it's not necessary.
But a reprimand isn't necessary, Reese.
Thank you, ma'am. If it's any consolation, I'd just like to say that I'm honored to be serving with you, and I hope you'll continue to bring glory to the Brotherhood.
Hi.
And what about you? Are you going to go give me a location to clear?
Nice work. Looking to clear another location of trash?
I'm ready.
Sure.
All right. Here's the latest target area. I don't want to see your face until that place is clear.
It just jumps him out of the way. Yeah. So, that's a thing. That is a thing I was not expecting. I think that dialogue that Dance gave us might be unique to this situation, but as for Reese and Halen, yeah, they are very confused. Which makes me wonder even more what happens when we go visit the airport. Now, I'm not doing those quests. Holy cow, I have done enough quests. Nope. Just, you can't make me, and I don't think that there's going to be anything interesting that happens if we do those quests. But what happens if we go to the airport? Are we going to be allowed on the Pridwin? Oh man, this loading screen is too long. I can't wait to find out. Oh, come on. I hope there is a vertibird up at the top of this stairs, because if there is... No! Okay. So... Yeah, still no way to get onto the Pridwin, and no formal introduction to Maxim or any of the other members of the Brotherhood. Well, that is just fascinating. They're not hostile, so I'm not even sure what to call this ending. It's not the trifecta, but it's also not the one where the Minutemen go destroy the Brotherhood and or the Railroad. If I talk to Dance again, will he maybe... Okay, all of a sudden I can't believe I'm going to do this, but normally Cimptor Invicta is your way to getting introduced to the rest of the Brotherhood. I can't believe this, but I'm actually going to go do some quests. Well, I have no idea what's going to happen when we go in here. I know that I couldn't have completed those quests before under the rule set because one of the items was in a chest, and that would have been looting. So, yeah, at 12 days of gameplay and level 89, and the game's already done, we have looted our first chest. And I don't know what's going to happen when we go in here. I'm excited to find out. So, let's talk with...
Have that tech yet?
Yes, I do.
Here it is. Good job. Hope it didn't give you any trouble. Here, tech will always be in demand. When you're ready for more, just say the word.
Okay, but not right now, because I want to see if we can make our way onto the Pridwin somehow. Okay, and Reese, what about you?
Who's back? I take it that area's clear?
It sure is.
That's what I like to hear. Here's your pay. Recon's always coming in. Once you've prepped for your next mission, come find me.
Alright, but not right now.
But remember, we can't afford to give those abominations too much slack.
Dance, would you like to fly me to the Pridwin?
I hope this means you're ready to head back out there. There's so much we've yet to uncover.
Nope. Well, that's disappointing. Still, it was a fun little detour at the very end here. There's not many other places that we have left to go. In fact, I can only think of one. Actually, let's see if no vertebrate waiting for us to whisk us off the equipment. Still, it was a pleasure to do that quest just now, and gleefully devour corpses left and right, and have Codsworth tell us that no napkins required, among other things. And I even picked up a legendary. There was so many garbage legendaries throughout this run, and here at the very end we get a 2-shot 6-crank laser musket. It's still garbage, but I picked it up anyway, and it was fun. So let's go and take care of really what I think is the last dangling thread in plots. And that is, I keep doing it. Now I'm all self-conscious about it. Let's go talk with Virgil. And really no reason to worry about power armor or anything else. We're going to be outside for just a matter of seconds. And I have a feeling that Virgil is going to be very upset with us. Virgil, are you even here? Yes, you are. And you're holding a gun on us. I don't like it.
It's gone. What happened? We had a deal. I help you get into the Institute. You get me the serum. Instead, what do? You blow the damn place up. My home, my friends, and the one chance I had of being human again. Rah!
Virgil, I am so sorry. I only now, have decided that looting is okay. So, I really am super sad that I had to do that. But, yeah, if you're going to shoot at me, I'm not going to take that standing. I'm not going to take that standing. I'm not going to take it lying down if you're going to shoot at me. And do you have anything interesting on you? No. You got a little bit of ammo for my laser musket, and that's it. Well, that's too bad. Still, never pass up a free meal. Super mutant. I am not surprised, but I am saddened by that. And these turrets have also gone hostile. Well, screw you and the super mutant you rode in on. Huh. Well, that's the last of the plot, but there is a few more things that I want to handle. First, we need to deal with Mama Murphy. She has been resisting our efforts to break her for too long. And I am frankly very curious what happens if you give her drugs after the game. I mean, there's no more predictions for her to make, so what will we get if we give her some drugs? So let's save the game. Actually, I don't even know why I'm going for a bed. I don't need to do that anymore. I can do that now, and it's glorious. Because I don't really want this to be the end for Mama Murphy, but as I said, I am curious what happens if we give her some drugs.
To keep working, kid.
And in fact, there's at least a couple more opportunities to give her drugs. So here you go.
Forgot how strong that stuff is. Whew. Okay. Here it comes. You're standing with the people, working together, united. I see a land filled with hope again. Fear falls away as the brave step forward to join the ranks. You're a hero, a symbol for a better world. Our world. Oh, God. Sorry, kid. Old Ticker just lurched there a few times. I'm fine, really. Just need to stay still.
Well, that's not psychic. That's just describing what happened at the end of the game. Anyway, Murphy, would you like some more drugs?
Need to rest before the sight can help you again.
How much do you need to rest? Is 24 hours enough rest? I'm not sure. But we're going to put down a chair. And I need to be a little bit careful here because since the game is doing autosaves, I don't want to, and there's only 3, I do not want to accidentally get too far. As I said, I am just doing this right now because I'm curious. This is not how we want the story to end with Mama Murphy. Oh, that is an autosave. Okay, well, if this is not enough to... Why am I talking to Preston Garvey? What? Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. I'm not interested.
Not much use in the fight anymore. But back in the day...
Mama Murphy, would you like some more drugs? I think this time it might be Psycho.
Hey.
Ready for the sight again, kid? I usually like...
Right.
Alright, here you go. Is this vision gonna be any different?
Gonna be an interesting trip. You're wearing a suit of steel and energy. You're standing with your brothers. Your mission accomplished. I see a land secured.
Interesting. So she goes into the alternate factions. I wonder if I had given her one less, if I'd have been able to get maybe the vision for the railroad. Regardless, yeah, this is clearly what she should have given us if we'd done the Brotherhood ending. And oh no, Mama Murphy's dead. That's too bad. We're very sorry, except we're not. So, yep. We'll just sling her out into the road right in front of Jun Long. Oh, well, everybody's going to stand around and be sad that Mama Murphy's dead. So let's not let that stand. Let's load a prior save because Mary is better than that. We have donned our charisma gear for perhaps the last time because we need to have a very serious conversation with Mama Murphy. Now, I have gone ahead and finally built the poor woman some shade and put out a little potted plant from Creation Club. I don't have the Picket Fences magazine necessary for the regular potted plants. Given her a radio to listen to and even a fan to try and help cool her off a little bit.
Always getting myself into trouble.
And indeed, I have gotten myself into a lot of trouble, but it was always with the intent to try and help people around the Commonwealth. And that's how I got entangled with you, Mama Murphy. I I can't forget what you did to me when I was vulnerable and needing help and just trying to get my face fixed after what my husband had done to me. And the way that you tortured me is going to stick with me for the rest of my life. As I said, I
Others are talking about some creature.
I can forgive, but I can't forget.
Maybe.
Sean, I'm sorry, I need to have a conversation with Mama Murphy here. Now, I have given you a better place to live, but I want you to pay attention to
I'm afraid I'm not
this laser musket.
back in
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Call me Murphy, the mad woman.
And I still think you're kind of mad, but I also think that you were under the influence of drugs and just addled out of your mind when you tortured me.
Mama Murphy.
We're gonna need a heavy hitter
But
on the site to keep working.
that being the case, we have no more chems. We have a young boy that is living here now. Sean is going to be adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Long, and frankly, do you remember, Mama Murphy, the last boy that you impressed with your psychic visions? The one who went raider and took over the Corvega factory and ambushed your caravan of refugees from Quincy? That guy? Yeah. We can't let that happen again. Sean is impressionable, and he is a synth, which means that he could potentially take so many chems without actually dying. And so you need to stop and not let this become something that is
Stop using chems.
going to be perpetuated.
I'm
No more
serious.
chems.
Bring this back up. I thought I told you. We need the site, and the site needs the chems.
We don't need the site. The Institute is done for. You want me to give you chems because you want to get high. It's time to stop.
No. You're going off this junk now. Or you're going to answer to me.
Easy there, kid. You win. Old Mama Murphy will get clean. Just put away the scary eyes.
Thank you, Mama Murphy. Now, I will direct your attention to that laser musket. If I find that you have been back on the chems, I'm going to take this laser musket and I'm going to put the business end of it someplace very uncomfortable. You're not going to like it. And I'm going to crank it 6 times and I'm going to pull the trigger. And that'll be the end of you and all of your chems. It's a good promise, Mama Murphy, and if you need help remembering to keep it, keep an eye on that laser musket. I hope that this is the last time that we have to talk about this. Codsworth, where did you go? We have one more duty to perform. Because although I have not forgiven Nate, I can at least understand a little bit more. After 9 months in combat, where the Commonwealth has become a war zone, I can at least have an appreciation for what he must have been going through when he came back from China. Now, I left him on ice in the vault, and we can't let that stand. So come with me. Codsworth, you are the only other person besides me who even remembers that Nate was alive at one point, let alone actually knew him before he passed. And so that's why I've asked you here to join me, because it's not right what Nate did to me, but it's also not right to leave him down here.
Oh dear, is
that... Mum, I'm so sorry.
It's okay, Codsworth. Now I know that really Nate can't hear me, but even so, I think it's important to say the things that need to be said. Nate, I'm so sorry for what happened to you in China, and I know that you're so sorry for what you did to me. But the past is the past, and it is time to let you go. And I can't do that when I think of you just on ice like everyone else here in the vault. And I wish that I could take them all out and give them proper burials, but it's too much. But we can do right by you, Nate. Codsworth, can you get his legs? I'll get his arms. Goodbye, Nate. I hope that you can find some sort of peace wherever you might be. I buried you here next to the river in our old neighborhood, and I hope that it's a good place for you, and that wherever you might be, it's a better place, and that you're healed and at peace. It's sunset now, and that feels appropriate, because although we were so in love when we first got married, well, times changed, and we changed, and it is time to let go. Thank you for your service to our country and in protecting Sean and myself. And I'm sorry that I failed to kill the ghouls for County Crossing or wherever. Oh, Nate. Life does go on. And that is true in the real world and in the Commonwealth. So, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Goodbye, Nate. I think that really, at this point, Mary probably very much needs a drink. And maybe the comfort of her best friend, which was Piper. Now, we haven't adventured with Piper in so long that we might have forgotten that even though I personally, Nacho, think that Piper is a terrible reporter, Mary has made a friend in the Commonwealth, and she needs one right now, so let's go get Piper. It is Friday, September 21st, 2288, and Mary and Piper have spent the last few days just kind of being together and being friends. And it's been therapeutic, and it's been something that Mary needed, and Piper has suggested that maybe it's time for Mary to let her hair down and take off the war paint and put on a little makeup. We're going to go dancing tonight in Diamond City. Mary has put away all of her armor and weapons and everything else, because tonight is a night just for having fun. She's not gone completely unarmed. She is carrying a little sidearm because that's just prudent in this day and age, in this world, but that's all she's got. And so, Piper, it is late evening. Let's let's have a nice dinner together. And let's... I think Piper is probably a beer kind of girl. We'll have some water as a side. She'll have some steak, vegetable soup. Mary's going to have also a steak, some soup, but she's going to have some wine instead. And let's also get dressed for our night out. So, Piper, you can put that on. And we've got matching outfits. It's something fun that we can do together. And as I said, we're gonna have something to eat here and a little bit to drink, and we're gonna listen to the holotape that Nate made.
There we go. Just say it. Right there. Right there. Go ahead. Huh? Yay! Hi, honey. Listen. I don't think Sean and I need to tell you how great of a mother you are. But we're going to anyway. You were kind and loving and funny. That's right. And patient. So patient. Patience of a saint, as your mother used to say. Look, with Sean and us all being at home together, it's been an amazing year, but even so, I know our best days are yet to come. There will be changes, sure, things we'll need to adjust to. I'll rejoin the civilian workforce. You'll shake the dust off your law degree. But everything we do, no matter how hard, we do it for our family. Now say goodbye, Sean. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye, honey. We love you.
That was probably pretty hard for Mary to listen to, after all. In light of our little headcanon about how Nate was damaged by the war and came back as an abusive husband because of his PTSD. Those are the words of a man who is trying to ask for forgiveness but can't actually make himself say the words. Hard for Mary to listen to, but it's good that she did. It's cathartic, and it is time to put that all out of her head and just go have some fun. So let's go over to... Oh, right.
Mayor McDonough. I saw him with one of those Institute synths. Piper was right. He's one of them.
McDonough's a synth. Oh, God. What do we do now?
You can stop standing around. Someone get a doctor.
Excuse me.
2 slugs in the gut, plus the fall from the elevator. I ain't gonna make it.
You're gonna be okay.
Quick. Take this stim pack.
Don't worry, Danny. You're gonna be all right.
Thank you. I feel better. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna stay here for a bit.
I guess before we can go dancing, we have to resolve this. So, McDonough, what have you done? Piper, get up here. We are gonna go confront him and... No, don't stand next to the elevator.
Over here.
Come on.
Move here.
That's a plan.
Piper, are you already drunk?
I don't think I can get to that.
So, I just keep finding myself with one more thing and one more thing to do because it's hard to let go. It's hard to let go of Mary in particular and this game in general after so much time.
Everything's fine. This is all just a misunderstanding.
Damn it! The door won't budge.
Well, the door might not budge for you, but if we just pick this very easy lock. Oh, come on. I tell you, this might be the last time I ever do the lockpick minigame, and I'm fine with that.
Yes.
McDonough, this doesn't have to end in bloodshed.
Help me! He's crazy!
I am not just going to be discarded and tossed to the wolves. I'm the mayor, goddammit!
I think you should let her
Mayor
go.
McDonough, I can help you, but not when you're holding a hostage. Let her go.
Oh, all right. She can go. Now, I'll tell you what's going to happen next. I'm walking out of this city, unharmed, with my dignity intact.
Not happening, McDonough. You're a dead man. Dead synth. Whatever.
I'm either walking out of the city a free man, or I'm killing as many of you disgusting, filthy savages as I can.
And then what would
are
you
gonna
do?
then, McDonough?
I can't go back to the Institute. I can't stay here, but I'm a man of resourcefulness. I'll make my way. Just let me go. Hasn't there been enough bloodshed? Think about poor Mr. Sullivan.
He's actually going to be okay. McDonough, I don't think that we can just let you go. I think you need to stand trial.
And these people are gonna have justice.
Lord knows you've got plenty to answer for.
Trial? Please. You know how these people feel about synths. I won't be stuck in a prison while they gloat. This is my...
Well, that's unfortunate for you, McDonough, then.
Good job taking down that back.
You could have potentially outlived your prison sentence, but instead, no.
Gonna be a long time.
You chose to die.
But at least now Diamond City will
thanks.
finally have the truth.
We owe you. Big.
Is this what the Institute
And with that,
for us to
that, I hope, is the very last. Geneva, are you okay?
He almost killed me.
He almost did, but he didn't. Oops. Piper. Piper can catch up. At this point, it has been a rough day. Even with a makeover, listening to Nate's final message was hard. And having to deal with McDonough unexpectedly like that, also not easy for Mary. So it is most definitely time for dancing.
I'm just gonna stay here for a bit.
Okay, so let me get this kid a doctor.
This whole time.
For now, don't know if Mary is going to ever find another husband or even another man as such, but dancing is where Mary finds her joy, and that's what she plans to do tonight here in Bobros Bar. And here it is. It's the very end, and thank you so much for sticking with me. I hope you find joy in your life, whatever brings it to you. And at the end, I'm going to say that my name has been Nacho Bidness, and it has been a great big wasteland, and we have had so much fun in it. Thank you so very much for watching. Goodbye.